Okay, so let's get right into it. Welcome to Baking 101. Again, I'm so pleased that you guys are just as enthusiastic about what's happening right now as I am. This is so incredible. So, as you all know, Dr. Barlow, she, sent out her TikTok to her exclusive 35 students, and then we all got involved, right? And because 200,000 people wanted to be in her class, and obviously there aren't enough TAs to manage that, we were kicked out. No, just kidding. She didn't kick us out, but we quickly learned that that was a real class and it wasn't actually her wanting to teach us all on TikTok. However, um, through the influx of everyone wanting to have all of this information via social media, via online, a group of women decided to say, hey, you know what, let's just go ahead and let these professionals teach. And so that's why I'm here, that's why you're here, and this is amazing. This is an amazing moment in history for us. So super excited about this, excited to see how far it goes, how far into the future we're breaking ground. So we're going to be making history, and we're going to be the pioneers of what is Hillman Talk for futures to come, because trust and believe, it's not just going to be this semester, right? Like, I know it's going to go beyond this, and the interim president is even talking about summer session. So if you guys enjoy your courses that you're taking now and you want to continue as the ball keeps rolling, then we'll go into summer semester. I'm sure there'll be like more structure with it, and we'll be rocking and rolling. And I think right now there's, the last I knew, was a little over like 200 courses that are being offered right now. So we're definitely like a mini Ivy League school right now, which is like so dope. And we're Hillman Talk. And so I'm definitely going to have to date myself when I say that I knew exactly what Hillman was. And when I heard that song, when it came across my feed, I was like, oh my gosh, yes. When I was young, I wanted to go to Hillman. I wanted to be Whitley. Guys, put in the comment if you did watch Hillman, what character you related to or who you wanted to be, because I definitely wanted to be Whitley. I know she was a little sedity, and maybe I can be that a little bit, but that was definitely who I wanted to be. Yes, loved it. So that's where the name came from. So there is a Black sitcom, that we had years ago called Hillman, which were a bunch of students that went to, an Ivy League school, and it was just dope, and they were just doing the damn thing. So it's definitely an honor, that this is the name that they picked for us. Our mascot is the Black Panthers, which, I mean, I get chills still. Just even thinking about that. So you guys have probably seen me, say "Go Panthers," or if I respond to some of your comments, you see I'm putting the paw prints on there. I'm an ex-cheerleader. So, ride or die through and through. The rah, rah, rah is, just going to be in me forever. It just is what it is. I have 4 kids, 3 girls and a boy, and all the girls cheer, dance, you name it. My son, did all the sports. Hi, guys, if you're in here. They're all in college, by the way, except for my young one. So, yeah, so I like to cheer. I like to have fun. I can be loud, but I know how to calm it down a little bit too. So oh, hey, yeah, okay, she's in there. Like this. See if I can put you on to moderate too. What else can I tell you guys about what's going on? Let me see. And I'm definitely like trying to learn this stuff too. So please bear with me as I'm trying to learn. What's do you see do you see Yaya in there? What's her handle? Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, guys, is I'm adding on a couple of moderators. We had a little bit more, a little bit more than 400 people register for the class tonight. So we've got a couple of moderators in here, just to make sure that we keep things smooth and be kind. Be kind to me, be kind to each other, okay? Because we want this to stay a safe space. We don't want to have to, kick anybody out or anything like that. All right, so what else can I tell you guys about the inception of what's happening? Hopefully, if you've been on, TikTok for the last week, you pretty much, get the gist of what's going on and why we're here. I definitely want to also mention Human Talk University's official TikTok page. Make sure you go on there and follow them. In true, digital world form, there are already a bunch of copycats out. So you'll see, multiple pages coming up posing as Human Talk University. So there's only one TikTok for it. It has an official site. I've posted it. I've tagged them. I'm following. That's the only Human Talk that I'm following. So if that helps when you guys are trying to follow them too. Oh, I'll take your doctor's note, Elaine. It's okay. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, a non-alcoholic drink. I have tea. So make sure that you're following the official Human Talk page. Another thing that I want to mention, and I took notes, but I'm probably just going to be all over the place, so excuse me for that. So another thing that I want to mention about the Human Talk entity is that, have you guys seen these certificates circling around? Like, I'm scrolling and I'm seeing people say, oh my gosh, like I got my certificate, to Human Talk. I've gotten accepted. And then there's like a flood of people like, where's mine? Where's mine? I haven't gotten mine. Some of you, message me like, where's my, certificate or whatever. So I'm here to say that is false. That is a dupe. So the official, the official TikTok Hillman page, they have not put out anything with our proprietary information on it yet. So if you've gotten something, it's probably, what do you call it? Scammers. So they have not sent out anything official thus far. The only exception to that may be your actual courses. So courses that you've actually signed up for and, registered for or are in, have gotten that, confirmation from those professors. If they on their own have elected to send you a certificate of participation as of right now, then that would be legit. But anything outside of that is not coming from Hillman Talk. So I did want to mention that. All right, so let's get into this syllabus. So I posted the syllabus yesterday. Thank you guys for your patience. I went on and did the Q&A, so hopefully you guys were a lot more comfortable coming in today. Hi, Charlotte. Thank you for joining. And so I have a post pinned of the syllabus. If you don't have access to Canva, hopefully you do. If you don't, you can sign up for a Canva. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you anything to join, and it doesn't cost you anything to pull up the syllabus or any of the recipe cards, or hi Alicia, any of the recipe cards or anything else that that would be coming from me from this actual class. So this is what it looked like. That's page number 1. So that'll help you find the document. And just, for those that might need a little bit of assistance with that, the way that you access it is when you come to my TikTok, you look into the bio and you'll see it says BioSite. Click on the BioSite. There'll be a couple of prompts that get you to their actual site. The very first one on there is the syllabus, Baking 101. Click on that and you'll have the syllabus. Black Velvet sings, yes, you are late. Why are you late? I'm going to talk to you after class. No, I'm just kidding. It's okay. It's okay. We know we got a lot going on, and this is day 1. And so, so let's say Baking 101, just click on that, and then that will give you the syllabus. I'm going to be posting your recipe cards every week. And so I'll I want to do it on Tuesday. Realistically, it may be Wednesdays, but whatever we're going to do the following week, you're not going to see it until a couple days after your prior class, if that makes sense. So if you have gone over the syllabus, you know next week we're going to be making sugar cookies, but you didn't see that recipe in the syllabus. That's because I want you guys paying attention. And so, like after we have our class right now, like I'll post it tomorrow or Wednesday. But I did give you a few more nuggets in there. Your syllabus started at 11 pages. It's now 15. So if you notice that as well, you are ahead. Well, not ahead, but you know what I mean. And so there's a little more information in there for you guys to grasp on. So let me just read through this really quick for those of you who maybe don't have Canva. Hi, Uniquely G. I'm excited too. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining our class. In case you don't have Canva and you haven't had access to the syllabus, I'm going to go over that really quick and keep it moving. Baking 101, Introduction to Baking, in case you don't know where you are right now. Course overview. So I'm reading our first page or second after the cover sheet. This beginner-friendly course is designed to introduce students to the fundamental techniques and skills of baking. Whether you're a complete novice or looking to refresh your knowledge, you'll learn how to prepare a variety of baked goods, including brownies, cookies, and cakes. Through hands-on experience, you'll explore key baking principles such as ingredient functions, mixing methods, and baking times, as well as gain a deeper understanding of kitchen tools and equipment. By the end of the course, you'll have the confidence to create delicious baked treats, all while building a solid foundation for further baking exploration. That was a mouthful. Comment syllabus if you guys are paying attention. All right, course goals. So what my job is, to relay to you is an understanding of fundamental baking techniques and terminology. I would like for you to develop proficiency in preparing batters and frostings. Again, this course is going to be on an emphasis on sweets and treats. I am a professional baker. I've been in food and hospitality for 28 years. I've been doing sweets and treats for 8 years. And so that's my jam. Other things, summer session and beyond, we'll mix it up but for this course, we'll have an emphasis on sweets and treats. Thanks for the lights. Jazzy's paying attention. Gabby's paying attention. Who else? Fly Ma, you're late. What's going on? Get a pen, get a pad. All right. I would like for you to explore essential decorating techniques for cakes and cupcakes and apply skills to create visually appealing and delicious baked goods. So if you guys did see the TikTok, the Q&A, and you saw that tower behind me, I did a wedding this past weekend, so that's what I do. All right, required media. So my TikTok, my YouTube, that way I can track you. If you have read the syllabus, you know that I'm taking attendance. We'll get to that at the end, but this is the way that helps me do that. Also, I'll be giving you guys extra credit. I'll be giving you, just little like scavengers to do along the way, which should be super fun. And that's the way that I'm going to be able to measure it. So make sure that if you're not already following this TikTok here, Oh Mercy, Mercy Me, and my YouTube, Oh Mercy, Mercy Me as well. And I did get your DMs. I did see some of you, you already found the YouTube. You already found my Instagram. Some of you found, my business page. And that's dope. I love it. So thank you for, again, the enthusiasm. Thank you for the support. There's no me without you. There's no you without me. So it works both ways. And I really appreciate you guys for that. All right. So on the weekly breakdown, in the syllabus, you saw that I broke it down every week. So every week we have a theme, we have an objective, and then we have an activity for the class. This is an 8-week course. We have 2 weeks where we're not going to have class for the duration of this class. So starting today, ending on March 31st. And I'm trying to mix it up, trying to keep it fun for you. Excuse me. So I'm gonna skip really quickly past the weekly stuff, and then I'll go back to it. So I'm gonna skip past weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm gonna go to the course details page, and that lets you know this is an 8-week course. Our lives will be 1 to 2 hours depending upon what we do, and I'm definitely gonna try my best to be punctual. I've got my handy timer here to make sure that we do that because I value your time. I hope you value mine as well. So as far as the schedule goes, I broke it down every week for you. This is an estimate on how long these classes are going to take. Most of the time, it should take, between an hour to an hour and a half at the end of the course. We will be pushing towards the 2-hour mark because you guys will have your presentations. I'll be pulling you into the lives. And so that's going to be, it's going to take a little bit more time. Jasmine, where is the syllabus? Can one of my mods answer that question, please? She did. Okay, thank you. Thanks for joining, Jasmine. Okay, and then, so materials needed. So you're going to have a material list and you're going to have a recipe card for every week. Excuse me, for every week. Those that do have pages 12 to 15 of the syllabus, you've already seen that. Those who have not, you can access it after the class is over, but I'm going to go over that with you. So I'm just going to skip that a little bit. And then grading and assessment. So how we're grading this class is 30% is your attendance. And since I had, over 400 people signing up, I do have 2 TAs, but I really want to make sure that, we're capturing the experience for you and that, we're all getting the best out of this. So the only way that we can do that is to show up, right? I've got to be here every week, and you're my accountability partner to be here with me every week as well. So 30% on attendance. And how we'll track that is you need to remain in the live for a minimum of 30 minutes. So when we go after the live is over and take attendance, if your attendance says 29 minutes, I do apologize, but we're going to have to not count you in attendance for that week. So make sure that you are in the live a minimum of 30 minutes to get credit for the live. And that's easy, simple. What's next? Okay, live participation. Okay, so live participation is going to be 30% of the grade. So partly comments and partly showcasing. Comment mercy if you're paying attention. So partly on the comments, what that means is just like right now, I'm going to give you a prompt, talk back to me, right? Because essentially I'm just talking to myself right now. So thank you, Diamond. Thank you, Ms. Dodd. Thank you, True Essence. So I really need for, you guys to engage back to me. That helps, get me going too. So I'll be taking comments. If you're listening, I'm going to be throwing out some nuggets. I might give you an Easter egg and ask you later. So that's the way that I'm pulling your participation into the class. And then what showcasing means is at some point, say like if we're like next week, we're doing our sugar cookies and I'm like, hey, who wants to show us your cookies? Then some of you brave souls will say me, and then I'll pull you in and we can all see, your project that you made for the week. Okay. And then lastly, final project and presentation is 40% of the grade. So at the very end, week 8, you will cook on your own and present it to me and your peers. Okay. So that's going to be 40%. I can't wait for that. That's going to be super, super fun. Yes. Sugar cookies. We're doing sugar cookies next week. So I can't wait. Because part of it, partly for me, the joy for me is just going to see you guys going from point A to point Z. And so that's what I'm most looking forward to. And no stress, guys. I'm not sure how many other classes you signed up for, but this will definitely be your easiest class. Just like I told you guys over the weekend, I'm not asking you to spend a lot of money. I'm not asking for, a super duper high amount of your time. I'm going to make this as cost effective as possible for you and me. And, and just have fun. Some of you are taking African-American studies, metaphysics, I'm not doing all that. We're keeping it cute. We're keeping it fun over here. Okay. So I'm looking forward to your final projects. So prerequisites, none. This is a beginning 101. So those of you who, have taken college courses, the beginning is the beginning, right? Other than the fact that you had to graduate high school to even get into that university, you just show up and then we'll teach you everything that you want to know. Should I buy a stand mixer? No, but we're going to get to that. I'll give you a little peek. I've got 2 mixers right here. So we're going to talk about that. I didn't see the name on who asked, that question, but that's a no again. And I do want to reiterate, I want this to be as cost effective as possible. When you look at the material list, if there's something that you don't have, you can put it in the comments, you can send me a DM, and I will help you excuse me, I will help you work around that. Somebody messaged me earlier today saying, all I have is a large pan. And what else did you say? I had a large pan and something else. And that's okay. You know, when I put on the sheet, you know, you might need 2 or 3 pans. That's only because when we make batches of stuff, the content of what you're making is going to go beyond a sheet. So if you have one sheet and you just want to, you know, put your cookies or whatever we're doing on that sheet and bake that and do one sheet at a time, you can. But as someone who's worked in mass production, is also, I'm thinking, you know, my brain is turning on that as well. So, you know, I'm used to having putting out dozens and dozens of things at a time. So if you just have, you know, one pan, that's fine. And then I put a little, I don't even know what you call this, but a little prompt, a little prompt right here. The little, what is this called? Camera. The little camera right there. So if you look at the end of every week and on your hands-on activity, you'll see a camera. And what the camera means is I'm going to want you to take a picture. Okay. So that's the only way that I can see that you're actually doing your work. Okay. All right. So just skipping through the syllabus still. Again, Miss Mercy, that's me. This is my contact information. So you guys have that, and you guys have been doing a great job. Again, I'm trying to answer as many comments as I can, as many DMs as I can as we go. I gave you guys a little sneak peek, as I mentioned earlier. Human Talk University is talking about this is going to be an eternal journey for us. So beyond spring semester right now, we're going to have summer and beyond. So here's a little sneak peek of what I have in mind for my summer class. So you guys got a little peek of that. All right. Let me see. Okay, 37 minutes. We're doing all right. Okay, let me just see what you guys are saying. It's a little bit hard. I'm really, really fighting the fact that I'm probably going to have to grab some glasses. So it's kind of hard a little bit, especially when the comments move fast. What's going on with Esme? Let me know. Pretty Girl 88, I'm so excited. Me too. Wait, do we really need to register? Well, yes and no. I did see, like I said, over 400 of you registered for the class, and that's cool. But from today moving forward, your attendance is going to be what matters. So get on the live every week, 6 p.m. PST, and then stay in the live for a minimum of 30 minutes. And that's how I'm going to know that you're in my class. Because I also mentioned, you know, if you just want to be a fly on the wall, if you're just like, hey, like this is what I'm interested in, but I just don't want to actually take the class, that's fine. I'm not forcing you to. Again, this is, you know, the beginning of, you know, what we're doing here. So if you just want to watch, that's cool. Pick up a chair, you know, and watch. You don't have to. But if you are in here, I do appreciate, you know, you guys double tapping. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate those little, you know, gifts, things that you guys send. If you want to share it, you know, all of that. So that's how that goes. All right. And then let's see. All right, we've got a question. What will be our first assignment? Okay. So the first kind of, great question. The first kind of unofficial assignment that I gave to you guys was to bring 2 things with you today. Can somebody tell the group, what were the 2 things that you needed to bring to this lecture today? I don't know if you guys are pen and paper. Okay, Jupe. Yep, pen and paper. Diamond, pen and paper. So pen and paper, that's one. That's one of the things. What's the other one? I got this from Dollar Tree, you guys. Isn't that so cute? Pen and paper. And there was one more thing. Yes, Ash something it went by. Ash AT1 phone. That's all you needed for today. That was your first assignment. Bring pen and paper and your phone. Okay? So hopefully you guys did that. If right now, obviously you're on your phone, if you don't have a pen and paper, you're going to want to grab that because you guys are going to need to write. All right, so let's keep going here. All right, so first, let's start with, I missed my page. Okay, that. Trying to lessen all the papers that I have here. Hi, Dwayne. Thanks for the follow. Hi, Jess. Thanks for the follow. Okay, so I'm going to move these to the side for a second. That's our weekly stuff. Still want to learn, but I live in a dorm. Do you know any college baking equipment? Ooh, okay. The dorms are very, very strict. So you might have to, I'm trying to think what you guys are going to have to do. You might just have to be a fly on the wall for this one, or if you make a special trip to your parents, if you can, or a relative, because we're definitely going to be using the oven. So I know you guys don't have that. What if we don't have a full-size oven? If you have an oven that's at least big enough for a pan to go into, then you should be okay. You should be okay. And this is a 9 by 13 inch pan. So if a pan this size, this is a standard pan, if this can go into, excuse me, into your oven, you should be good. Are we baking in our classes or baking assignments, homework? So we're going to be baking in the class. We're going to be baking in the live. Okay. So prior to every week, and then I'll, give a reminder at the end of the class, but prior to every week, I'm going to let you guys know what you need for the next week and to be ready. And then throughout the weeks as they go, then you guys can practice, the techniques that you're learning throughout the week. So that way you can hone in those skills, because remember, you're going to have a presentation at the end of the class. Okay, great question. Are any of these recipes diabetic friendly? Okay, I saw that question a lot. So unfortunately, when it comes to sweets, it's sweet because it contains sugar, right? So the best thing that I can say to combat that is you want to try and find things that have the lowest sugar count possible. Like I'll just take peanut butter cookies, for instance. My mom's a diabetic, and my peanut butter cookies are the only thing that she can eat from, my entire catalog, because that has like a really low amount of sugar. Also, like say if you go to get a cupcake, swipe off that buttercream. I know it's probably going to hurt your soul, but swipe off that buttercream because that's all sugar, right? So you can have just cake. In my storefront, I would get, a lot of diabetics coming in, and I just say, hey, just swipe off the buttercream and you can just have the cake itself. So that's one way that can help you. There are, alternatives like honey, like agave. So those are, replacements that you can use to lower the sugar content when you bake as well. But to be honest, it's not like a one-to-one swap out. So it's going to be skewed in some kind of way, and it just really, doesn't come out that great. So I hope that helped. How many servings will we get from each recipe? So again, I'm used to cooking big. So I try to hold it down to where at least you'll get 12. You'll at least get 12. Yes, and stevia, great point. I didn't see whose name that was, but yes, stevia is a great option, but stevia is synthetic. I'll just put it that way. And I'm big on real ingredients, natural ingredients. So yes, you can use stevia. That is an alternative and sugar alternative, but it's not heart friendly because it's synthetic. So do your research on stevia. Be careful with that. Any gluten-free options? In totality, we will be, using flour that contains wheat, but you're in luck if you are someone that needs gluten-free things. Any recipe that we do that calls for flour, which is basically going to be everything, you can replace the all-purpose flour that we're using with a gluten-free flour, and that is a one-to-one swap out. So if my recipe says you're going to need 1 cup of flour, you can use 1 cup of gluten-free flour and it's a 1-to-1 swap. So you're in the clear if you're gluten free, but you just have to be careful if there are other things in the recipe that have gluten themselves. Like you'll be okay on the flour end, but there might be another ingredient that's going to pull gluten into it. And I'll try to remember that. Let me make a note of that. I'll try to remember that, and then I can let you guys, where did my pen go? I can let you guys know as we go for the gluten-free. Comment gluten-free in the chat if you guys are diabetic, or if you're on a gluten-free diet, or you can't have celiac. Put that in the comments so that I can know like what the ratio is of you guys in here, and maybe I can edit some of the things that we do to accommodate that. Will the recipe card specify room temperature butter, etc. before we start? Absolutely, yes. I know you guys are beginners, so I'm going to give you as much information as I can for you to succeed, so you will know, and that's great. So you might be a little bit beyond a beginner, whoever asked that question. Oh, Destiny Kinsman. Yeah, so when it comes to butter, you know, that is like the fat content in your sweets. So some recipes call for melted butter, some call for room temperature, and some call for cold. So points to Destiny there for that question. Great question. Excited to be here. Me too. Let me just write that down. Okay. Do you think it's possible to bake in an air fryer? I only laugh because my boyfriend and I, like, we talk about this all the time. You see that right there? You see that air fryer? That is not mine. Now, I don't want to, you know, crap on air fryers. It's just not my thing. I am I'm a scratch person. I'm a scratch baker. I try to do everything as health conscious as possible. However, I do appreciate science. I do appreciate technology. So what an air fryer can do is amazing. But you also want to make sure that you're reducing, you know, your radiation. Is it okay if we use hand mixers when doing recipes? Yep, I'm going to give you guys a little cheat on a speak here. So I have the big boy here, and I have a little hand mixer. We're going to go over that. So yes, of course, all the recipes that we're doing, you can use a hand mixer for, because I understand. I did see a lot of you in the comments that you just got some kitchen aids, and that's awesome. That is a great investment, and it's also a great staple piece for your kitchen, if I might say. But you don't have to go out and buy a KitchenMaid. Don't do that, you guys. You can use a hand mixer. The average KitchenMaid is like $300, and they go up from there, especially if you're going to Williams-Sonoma. So don't do that. Start small with a hand mixer. And I have a KitchenAid. KitchenAid makes a really great one. I don't remember how much this was. I've had it for so long. I want to say maybe like $40 or $50, but they do have other brands where it's a little bit, cheaper, and you can do that as well. It's just be careful on what you're actually mixing. The more dense things get, the more those motors are going to run, and they do blow out. So just be careful for that. All right, let's move along because I've got less than 30 minutes now. All right, so let's go over kitchen safety tips. So that's at the end of your syllabus if you guys got that today. So for kitchen safety, that's very important. Yes, most of us are doing this from home. Unless you work in food service, this may be information that you already know, but it's something that, I wanted to put out there for you. Most of you are probably already doing all this stuff, but in case not, somebody found a $20 mixer. Yeah, put it in the chat. Let everybody else know where you found that $20 mixer. It doesn't have to be, the higher line of the KitchenAid. All right, so most of you guys are probably doing this stuff, but I just want to make sure that we go over it. Anyway, number one, excuse me. Keep your work area clean and organized. Before starting, clear your workspace of unnecessary items and wipe down surfaces. This reduces clutter and makes it easier to work safely. That's 101, baking 101. Make sure that everything is clean. You want to use something that's like an antibacterial to wipe down your counters. And that way you're not contaminating any of the items that you're putting on there and your hands, because we're going to be consuming this stuff. Number 2, use sharp knives and utensils carefully. So the key to a great knife is that it'll cut you. And I know that probably sounds weird, but you need to have a really sharp knife. A dull knife is actually very, very dangerous, because then you're going to be using too much tension and you can really hurt yourself. So you want to have your knife sharp. You can use a knife sharpener, or you can refresh them. There are also services where you can go out and have your knife sharpened. Always cut away from your body when you're using knives. Keep them sharp. Dull knives are more likely to slip and cause accidents. Store knives safely, either in a knife block or with a protective cover. So I think we only have 1 week where we're actually going to be cutting some stuff. But I'll just grab a knife right here. So when you have to, slice something, typically instead of coming in like this, you're going to want to go, that's on paper. You're going to want to go like that. See, that's too sharp. You're going to want to go like that if there were actual food there. And then your hand will be in the claw, but that's kind of advanced. I'm not really teaching you guys advanced stuff, but cutting away from yourself is just still a good hint to know. Greetings. Hi, Becca. All right. Where are we going? Avoid cross-contamination. So what cross-contamination means is you're just mixing things that can hurt you. So you want to make sure that you keep everything separate, and that's going to lessen the chance of you contaminating whatever items it is that you're working with. So keep raw ingredients like eggs, meat, and fish separate from ready-to-eat items like fruits or baked goods. So we know, there's a lot of guys out there juicing and doing all that stuff and eating raw eggs. That's not what I'm talking about. But when you're in the kitchen cooking, you do want to keep your eggs separate. And also in the refrigerator, keep your raw eggs on the lowest shelf. Okay, that's the safest. And then keep them away from ready to eat stuff like fruit. Like me, I'll wash fresh fruit and have it in the refrigerator. The kids can come and grab stuff. And so you don't want to have eggs and stuff like that dripping on your fruit. Use separate cutting boards for raw meats and vegetables. Cutting boards are color coded. They're red, green, white, blue, and each color matches a certain type of food. So I just threw that in just kind of as a little bit of an advanced note. But if you're, the ones that you're buying from home, they're usually like a wood block like this. And that's fine. You just want to make sure that you sanitize in between steps. And I like that song. All right, clean as you go. So wipe down counters, wipe down utensils, bowls, pans, wipe down everything, you guys. Clean as you go. That's key, because then you'll look up, and you probably see this, on shows and stuff all the time, especially when it comes to bakers, because we're doing this, and that, and then you look up and it's like a catastrophe. So you want to clean as you go, and that'll help you. Excited for class? Me too. It's Ashlyn. Thank you for joining. All right. Using clean utensils and bakeware. I think we went over that. Covering food properly. So sometimes when you're working on something, let's just say we've got like a flour mixture in here or something, and we've got to put this down because now we've got to go work on something else. Best practice is to go ahead and cover that with a plastic wrap. That way, things aren't getting into your bowl. But if it's something where you're moving rather quickly, then it's okay to leave it open. But I just wanted to make sure you had that tip in there, again, to help you out with the basics on how to keep yourself safe in the kitchen. Storing ingredients correctly, keeping perishable items like eggs, dairy, keeping all that stuff refrigerated. Store dry ingredients like flour and sugar in cool, dry places. So there's this thing that we say, hot food hot and cold food cold. So if something is meant to be hot, you want to keep it hot. Okay, keep it over 140 degrees. If there's something that's supposed to be cool, you want to keep it below 41 degrees, and that keeps your food safe. And then when it comes to storage, check your fridge. You can put a thermometer in your fridge if it doesn't have one already. I like my fridge to be between 30 and 35, which is actually pretty cold, but I think the standard fridge will keep you somewhere between 35 and 40, and that's okay too. Wearing proper attire, tying back hair, wear an apron, protect your clothes, take off the jewelry, and that's how you can help your person. So like right now I have my hair in a braid, it's slicked down, that's best practice, or a bun. When you're cooking, you don't want to have your hair out. You're welcome for the tip. When you're cooking, you don't want to have your hair out, because we know everybody sheds a lot, and you'll, be biting into your cookie and find a hair, and you're like, oh, where'd that come from? Oh, me, because I was the only one in there. So you want to make sure that you always have your hair bound for that. And then jewelry, take off all jewelry. Sometimes, loose diamonds can fall out, loose rings can fall out, bracelets can fall out, especially if you have something that's dangling. If it, touches the food, that's going to contaminate the food. So just keep yourself safe. Dispose of waste properly. Make sure you're putting everything in the trash to avoid attracting pests and keeping your workspaces clean. That might sound simple, but that is a true tip for the kitchen, okay? Don't leave things out for pests, to smell and to fester. And food allergy awareness. If you're in shared spaces, just being aware of food allergies. So like earlier we talked about gluten. People are allergic to nuts. People are allergic to shellfish. So if you are the chef or the one that cooks in your family, I'm sure you already know what each kid can have and not have, or your husband or wife can have or not have. So that's what falls in line with that. Okay, so that's tips for hygiene. So really quickly, somebody put a tip in the chat to let me know that you guys are paying attention on what's something that you can do to keep yourself safe in the kitchen. And I am going to go along. I don't know why I keep mixing up my papers here. I'm missing. Did I go over that? Hygiene. Use terminology. Breakdown. Oh, here we go. Kitchen safety. Sorry about that. Wearing a hair, yes, hair gloves, proper clothing, covering food, keeping your workstation clean, wearing a bonnet or a mask, absolutely. Keeping everything clean, wearing an apron cleansing, careful with sharp knives, wearing an apron. Okay, perfect. All right, now we're gonna move on to kitchen safety tips. Number 1, keeping your area clean and organized. We went over that. Using knives carefully, we went over that. Being cautious around hot ovens and stoves. So we're gonna have the stove on, so make sure you're careful with that. When you're pulling your oven open, you wanna hold off a second for that first blaze that comes out, and keep yourself, excuse me, safe from the oven. When you're pulling stuff out of the oven, you're always going to make sure that you use an oven mitt. Don't try to use your hand, and don't try to use your kitchen towels too. Like sometimes you may have a towel like this that's laying around and it could be wet. Make sure you have like your dedicated mitts, or what's the word I'm looking for? Mitt, oven, what's it called? Pot holder. Thank you. Use mitts and use pot holders to keep yourself safe. Okay, watch for spills on the floor. Again, being in your home environment, this is, kind of less of a caution, but it does happen too, especially if you have little ones running around and they're dropping juice and all that stuff all the time. So a really great tip for the kitchen when it comes to spills is clean it up right away. No matter what you're doing, unless you have something on top of the stove that you got to pay attention to, you're whisking some eggs or something, clean up a spill right away, because then you don't have to worry about somebody slipping and falling, and then now you're in urgent care for the night. All right. Don't leave cooking unattended. So always supervise what you're cooking, whether it's in the oven or whether it's on the stove top. If you're cooking on something on the stove top, make sure you're staying there and paying attention to what you're doing. And if you're cooking something in the oven, make sure that you use your timer, because you can get distracted and then you'll burn whatever is in there. Be careful with electrical equipment, especially mixers and bigger points of equipment. So something like this, if you guys have a KitchenAid mixer, be careful. So whenever you're gonna take your attachments off to clean, whenever you're taking your bowl off to clean, make sure that you're unplugging it. See how this one is unplugged? Always have your mixer unplugged when you're not using it, and definitely unplug it before you use it so that you don't cut your fingers or get your fingers wound up in there. Proper use of timer. So set a timer every time that you're baking. That helps you not forget things in the oven so you don't burn things. And then proper lifting techniques. Whenever you have to lift something, you don't want to go like this. You guys can see that? You want to go like this. Okay, bend your knees, keep your back straight when you're lifting something heavy. So give me a comment in the chat on what's a way to keep yourself safe in the kitchen. I can't really tell what you guys are talking about in there. Something not required. Mixer. Yeah, the big mixer is not required. You can use a small mixer. All right. All right, let me skip to materials. Time is going by fast now. I was gonna go over some terminology. I think I'm gonna have to skip that one until next week. So let's go over materials since we've got 13 minutes left. Let me make a note here. Okay, if you guys have your material list in front of you, get that out. If not, this is where you're gonna need your pen and pad. I'm just gonna circle this since I know I didn't talk to you guys about that. Maybe I can try to throw one of those in there. Don't put sharp utensils in your dishwater. Alicia, you're my bestie, okay? Don't put sharp utensils in your dishwater. Hey, you're past baking 101. Okay, yes, so I'm glad I saw that comment. When you have a knife, leave the knife to the side. And then my kids know, one of my kids is in here and she'll tell you, when it comes to a glass, do not put a glass in the sink, okay? Again, I've worked in food service for almost 30 years. You don't know how many employees I've had to send to the ER just from those two simple things, having a knife in the sink and having something of glass material in the sink. Yes, Ryan, this is going to be recorded. I'm going to upload highlights. Also going to push this to YouTube. So make sure you follow here. Make sure you follow on YouTube so that you can get this, okay? But Ryan, bring out your pad and your pencil. So glass doesn't go in the sink, but I'm going to take this opportunity to take a sip. And don't put knives in the sink either. If you can wash it in the moment, that's perfect. Wash it and put it in your dish drain, right? Because it's right there. Who doesn't have a dish drain sitting right next to their sink? We all do, right? So you can wash it, put it in the dish drain right away, or put it off to the side, and then, when you're ready to do your dishes, then put it in there. So imagine getting cut by a big guy like this, right? So if you are, once you do put these guys away, best practice is if you have a knife block, and I moved mine, it's out here somewhere. So put it to the side, and this is your sharp edge, this is your dull edge. So when you put it in your dish drain, you're gonna wanna put it like that, handle out, okay? Handle facing you. Handle's always facing you, and the live blade is gonna be down. If you have a smaller knife, then you're gonna put your smaller knife tip down in these little cubbies. I don't know if can you guys see that? I don't know, the mixer might be in the way, but blades down, handles up, okay? Not the other way around. What got you into baking? Okay, what got me into baking? My kids. So I mentioned at the top of the class, I have 4 kids. 3 girls and a boy, and I was the sports mom. So my son literally did football, baseball, soccer, all of that. The girls did cheer, dance, song, flags. Well, I did flags too. All of that. So I was that, cheering, yelling, supportive mom. And so everybody's got a birthday, right? So just making treats for my kids for their birthdays every year. And once I started, doing it so much, then it was like, oh, take it to this game. Oh, take it to this event. And then I started getting compliments, and people were like, oh, wow, you're pretty good at that. And I'm like, yeah, I think so too. So then with the help of YouTube, so I just started pulling YouTube videos just to try to see if I could do that fancy stuff. And surprisingly, I was able to do a lot of the stuff on YouTube without formal training. So I am a self-taught baker, but I've been doing this for 30 years. Those of you who did find my business on Instagram, so you've seen all that stuff. If you saw the Q&A, that tower, that was me. So is my kids. A true love for my little ones. That's how I got into doing this. I can't make the banana bread in the syllabus. Yes, you can. Drop off that T. I can make it, and you will, okay? So make sure that you're here. I think that's week 6 or something. All right, let's go. Now we got 9 minutes. All right, so let's kind of go over the materials really quick. You guys will have a quick scavenger hunt, and we'll be out of here. Let's see if I can accomplish that in 9 minutes. Now I feel the pressure. Okay, materials, dry measuring cups. Now I'm showing you everything that you guys are gonna need for the class. You don't necessarily have to have it all for next week, so pay attention, okay? I'm gonna tell you all the things that you need, and then I'm gonna tell you if you need it for next week, okay? So that's how you know if it's something that you don't have that you're gonna need it for next week. And somehow I'm gonna need to push this stuff to the side so I know that I use it already. Okay. Dry measuring cups. Liquid measuring cups. Okay, so in Baking 101, dry and liquid. When you're measuring something that's a liquid, it's going to be in a cup like this. When you're measuring something that's dry, you're going to be in a cup like this. So dry and liquid measuring cups. You are going to need your dry measuring cup for next week. Measuring spoons. This is what they look like, multiple sizes. You are gonna need this for next week. Mixing bowls. Typically, you're just gonna need 2 sizes. I'm showing you guys 3 right here. So I always like to have a little small one, a medium-sized one, and a large one. If you have small and large, medium, large, it's okay, but at least make sure you have a large so it can fit everything, all the batters that we're gonna make. But make sure that you have at least 2, and you don't have to go out and buy this stuff. Everybody's got bowls in their kitchen, okay? Just make sure that they're clean. Run them through the dishwasher before you start class. You will need mixing bowls for next week. A whisk, okay? You're gonna need a whisk for next week. Okay, hand mixer or stand mixer. I showed you guys that a few times. If you have a stand mixer, perfect. If you don't, you can use a hand mixer. If you have both, great, okay? Don't go buy the big boy. You can do everything that we're gonna do, you can do it with a hand mixer. You will need that next week. Silicone spatulas. So silicone spatulas are kind of made out of a little like plastic type material, silicone. You are gonna need this for next week. Baking sheets, I showed you guys that earlier as well. This is a 13 by 9 standard size. This is what you're gonna have to have for next week. If you have 1, that's fine. I think I suggested 2 to 3. And that's just, because if you're making 12 cookies, you can probably only fit 6 on here, maybe 4, depending upon how jumbo you wanna go. So you're gonna need those pans for next week. Loaf pan, I forgot to grab, but that's like a little rectangle pan. I'll show you guys that next week, but you don't need that next week, okay? Pastry brush. So I saw somebody say they didn't have a pastry brush. I think I responded to your comment. This is a pastry brush, and that's just one of the rules. A pastry brush is something that the bristles aren't gonna fall off in the food. So you need this for the class. You don't need it for next week. If you don't have a pastry brush, you don't have to go out and buy one. You can use the back of a spoon. Okay, I'm losing my place. Oven mitts and pot holders. I'm a pot holder kind of gal, so whichever ones you guys use, you're gonna need that. So you do need an oven mitts or pot holders for next week. The sifter or a fine mesh strainer. This guy right here, this is a sifter. So whenever we're gonna be putting our flours together with our baking soda, baking powder, you're gonna need one of these to sift it away, okay? If you don't have one of these, it's okay. But I do have a little trick. you can actually use your whisk. So if you don't have both of these, at least have this, okay? If you can't go out and buy this. And I'm seeing Dollar Tree a lot. Yes, literally, you guys, I went this morning and picked up a lot of this stuff on Dollar Tree because I just wanted everything to match and look cute for you guys. But I literally picked up all this stuff from Dollar Tree. If you're not in California, you might have Family Dollar, Dollar General. Go to your dollar store first. If you need to purchase some stuff, start on the low end and work your way up. Everything that we're going to do, you don't need fancy high-tech equipment to do it, okay? So this was $1. Everything that I'm showing you guys right now was $1, like literally. All this stuff was $1. Except for those mixing bowls, those were a little more expensive. But again, you've got bowls in your kitchen. Okay, keep going. Parchment paper or a silicone mat. Where'd I put it? Okay, parchment paper. This is the one that's white and you can't see through to the other side. Okay, parchment paper. You are going to need this for next week. Timer. Oh, I've got 4 minutes. Okay, you guys are going to need a timer for next week. Is it okay if I go a few minutes over? If I do, I'm going to try not to. Okay. Let me know in the comments. Knife, we've already seen knives, so you're going to need a knife, but you won't need a knife for next week. We will go over next week what's the difference between the parchment paper, wax paper, but you're going to make sure that you get parchment, the one that you cannot see through. Tongs or a spatula, okay? Whatever your preference is, I prefer a spatula, so that's why I'm showing you guys a spatula today. You will need your spatula for next week. Pastry bags and tips. We are going to make cupcakes. Why is like everything missing? All right. Okay, so pastry bags. This is what a pastry bag looks like. Okay, they're plastic, little cones. They had these at the Dollar Tree. Okay, I'll try to pick up one that I saw. And the tips, okay, you're going to need tips for the class. You do not need this for tomorrow. Somebody put it in the chat. Remind your fellow students you won't need the pastry bags and the tips for tomorrow, but we will need them down the line. Cake tester, skewer, or toothpicks. You will need this for next week. Okay, you need toothpicks. This is how we're going to test our batters. Cooling rack. I have a fancy one, but you guys don't have to have a fancy one. Okay, I have one like this, so I can put multiple amounts of cookies on it. They do have them where it's just one level, like one row. Or if you don't have that, don't end my live. Okay, see if you guys can help me for that. Yaya, help me on this. I think it's trying to end me. I have 2 minutes. Oh my gosh. Trying to have me do a puzzle or something. All right, so if you don't have a cooling rack, you can just keep stuff on your baking pan. And then a thermometer. I didn't grab the thermometer, but that's also optional. Okay, so those are the materials that we're going to use for the class. And I hope you put a little star by the ones that I said that you're going to need for next week. And I have 1 minute left. So for your scavenger hunt, I want you to pick, because we had 20 things, I want you to pick 8 things from your material list, put them all in a pile, take a picture of it, and email it to me, okay? That's your scavenger hunt. And I did see some of you say that your kiddos were going to be in here with you. Let them do this part, okay? So pick 8 items from your material list, put them all in a pile, take a picture of it, and email it to me, okay? And you will get credit for it. All right, so I've got a minute left. I think this is just going to log me out anyway. The number of the tips, we'll go over that when it's time to get those, but you don't need that for next week. All right, so thank you guys so much. Again, trying to keep us on time. I hope you learned something today. I'm going to go through the chats and look for your comments, look for your participation. I'm going to take attendance, and we will see you next week at 6 p.m. I'm going to upload highlights of this on TikTok. This is also going to go on YouTube, and